Shalom, people. This is Brother Lyles coming at you with another video. And thank the Most High for another beautiful spring day. I'm just out trying to get some fresh air and some sunlight. As I stated, the sun is the best source for us to get the nutrients, especially vitamin D, to boost our immune system against this pandemic. And now that it's, getting warmer, we need to get out, get some fresh air as much as you can with the pollen. I know you get pollen that's, fills the air, but this afternoon the pollen count is down where I'm at here in North Carolina. It's not that bad, so I'm gonna take advantage of it. I was looking in the news and I was looking at that situation that's happening in East Africa and Mozambique on the heels of the president of Tanzania dying unexpectedly of a heart attack. The war that's going on in the country of Mozambique, which is right below Tanzania, is really escalating with the genocide reported in the towns of Pemba and Palma, which are actually in the north east corner of Mozambique, right almost on the border with Tanzania. ISIS in Africa, and I don't know if that means the people that were Muslim Mozambicans are following the ideology of ISIS, or if it is those insurgents that were brought in that are galvanizing the Muslim Mozambicans to wage this war against the civilian population. I don't know. I suspect that America and the Western powers, looking at the stance of some of the countries in East Africa, like President Paul Kagame of Rwanda and the now deceased president of Tanzania, Magufuli, who had become increasingly anti-West. I just think this is a opportunity that they're gonna catch hold to and exploit it in order to give them a provocation to send in Western troops, which they have already done. It was reported that the Mozambican government had asked for South African special forces or former special forces contractors to come in to help them fight against the insurgency, but it was see the black eye. It might have been a month ago, I think, where they think they was going in battling against the insurgents, and they said they went into one particular village and they pretty much just shot anybody that was black. And also the fact that we know that they have discovered those more mineral deposits and natural gas deposits in Mozambique lets us know even more that the West is looking for a provocation for them to do what they have been doing in the Middle East for a long time, mounting a coalition of forces to go in and quote unquote stabilize the country. I was part of a mission like that to East Africa back in the 1990s when we went into Somalia, and the clans were fighting against each other, and people were starving because the UN food shipments to the people that were starving were being hijacked and taken over by the clans, and they made the people pay for the food. So the Daddy Bush, first Bush, sent us in almost at the end of his term, and then our mission continued on into the Clinton administration, and he really didn't want the headache, or so he thought it was a headache, of dealing with the African nation. And he, after the incident with the Rangers being killed happened, that was his provocation to withdraw us and let the clans battle it out with each other in Somalia. That was, to me, a very confusing time in my life. I had imagined what it would be like to go to Africa, and here I was going to be given an opportunity, albeit being in the military, but I was going to be given an opportunity to go over there and help. It was supposed to be a humanitarian mission. But, after getting there, I could see clearly that, this wasn't going to end nicely. They wouldn't let us have no contact with the people. A lot of times, contact that you had would be workers that came in the compound to do work for U.S. military to help feed their families, because at that time, the city, Mogadishu, and the nation, it was in a shambles because of the wars between the different clans fighting against each other. And we did have contact when we went out on convoy through the villages to go to the embassy, and I would see the poor conditions that the people lived in. They would, the women would get up loose plastic and sticks, and they would build these little, little tents for them and their children. And when the monsoon season came, they would be holed up in those little plastic tents. they would live off of garbage that we threw out, because like I said, the clans were hijacking the food shipments. And sometimes when we were on convoy, I would throw out some bottles of water, or we might have some MREs, and they told us not to because they said it would make them sick. But I couldn't just, drive. We was driving past them. You see the little babies on the side of the road with the swollen bellies and all this kind of stuff. But again, it didn't happen because they didn't have food. It happened because the clans were stealing the food and not letting it get to the women and children. And again, I wonder, because at that time they said that East Africa was one of the largest black markets for illegal weapons in that part of the world. And I'm wondering, couldn't the UN or the other militaries of the world stop all these weapons from getting into this nation? Because these weapons have to have a point of origin, so they just stop the weapons from getting in, and maybe these people can get back to living. Well, I'm here to say that if Mozambique doesn't get their act together, they're gonna be like Somalia, and then this is gonna spill over into Tanzania and all the other East African countries, just at a time when it's a lot of us that were eyeing Tanzania because of its stance on the pandemic, and also the opportunities that it was gonna make for us. So wouldn't you know that these powers that be were not gonna sit by idly and not do anything? But what are we to do? What is the answer? Well, the Bible said the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yah to the pulling down of these strongholds. So we must pray. We must pray for Mozambique. We must pray for Tanzania. We must pray for all the African nations. Because if Yah is going to unite the two sticks together, all these camps out here talking about Hamites and Africa is bad, and these people talking about we ain't Africans, we Indians, and America is the land, and all this kind of stuff. This is utter madness. This is utter madness. We got to pray strategically, which, I got a prayer list that I did a couple of years ago, and I was definitely led to put that on my list of things to pray for. As I was coming into more understanding of who we are and what it meant, it changed how I was praying and who I was praying for. Because believe it or not, now that I know that those people over there in Israel that say that they are the people but aren't, at the time that I did believe that they were the people, and I was praying for the peace of Jerusalem, and praying for the peace of that land, Yah was honoring that prayer, even though I was praying it in ignorance, not understanding. Man, I'm praying to keep myself in captivity, because as long as those people are stomping down the land, as long as they're occupying Jerusalem and the real occupants are not there, if I'm not going to be there, then where I'm going to be right here in the land of my captivity. So I started praying. And I'm sure it was other people that was praying also. And I believe the prayers of the righteous availeth much. But because, again, a lot of us was deceived, and we was praying for them to be prosperous, even though, again, we know now Yah was honoring those prayers and letting them be prosperous in our land, in our city, with our funds, the money that they collecting from all these nations for what happened to them, the money that should be coming to us because they are the bankers. It's being withheld from us because you believe that these reparations committees that they're going to form, when they look at where the money's going to come, those that say that they are Yahudim but are not, but do lie, going to say, hey, if they pay them, then that money is going to come from what they supposed to be paying us, or at least what they think they should be paid. So we must put that on. If you got a prayer list, put that on your prayer list. Also pray for the continent, that all the leaders that are wicked would be replaced. Pray that they would get good leaders like Magufuli was. He was a good leader. He looked out for the people. Let's pray also against religion on the continent. Let's pray against religion here amongst us too. We don't need no more religion. We need Yah. Two of the biggest enemies that we have as people are Christianity and Islam. These are the two biggest we have. We gotta pray against this stuff. So I want you to consider that when you get down at night on your knees and pray. Pray for our brothers and sisters in East Africa and other places that are trying to get their the stranglehold that West has on their neck off. And definitely Mozambique was looking at and is looking at tremendous natural gas reserves that were found, and tremendous mineral reserves that were found. I think they said rubies, so that they were set to probably be able to help their average citizens rise their standard of living. They don't want the standard of the African nations to rise. They don't want that, because as Africa rises, the West and the other European nations fall. And so, I don't know when it is that the Exodus is gonna happen. I'm praying that it will be this year, but I don't make no predictions. I don't be presumptuous, but I do believe that, Most High want us to pray to prepare the land before he, sends us off. He's not going to send us from the frying pan into the fire. He's not going to do that. But, Yeshua gave us the prayer to pray. When he told his disciples, if you're going to pray, pray this. He said, pray that thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so we got to do that. And sometimes that means that one nation has to fall down in order for one to come up. we have been given the notion for so long that the West was going to be our final resting place, that we never considered ever going back to Africa. But that mindset has been changed over the last 10 years, and even more so during the year of return. And is it a coincidence that right at the in September, because now the former CDC director says that they knew that the pandemic actually had started in September 2019, which was a month after the 400 years of August 2019. So the Most High, once again, was on time. Just as he said, he was on time. At the end of the 400 years, that's when this pandemic, it was already starting to spread. It was already starting to spread. And so we know that the Most High, he's working on the scenes, but he wants us to cooperate with him on our deliverance. So I'm praying for these nations. I'm praying for the people. I'm praying for our brothers and sisters that are already over there on the continent, wherever they may be, East Africa, West Africa, South Africa. I'm praying for them, that they will be successful. And I'll wait for, Most High, whenever it is that he wants to take me and my family, whether it's going to be as an individual or is it going to be with the Exodus. I frankly don't care. I'd rather it be with the Exodus, to be truthful, whereas a lot of us coming over, because I think then we might have a little bit more bargaining power with the African nations that we're going, when they see a whole lot more of us are coming over. But I want you to get out and enjoy your day. Just, think about that. Think about what the people are going through right now in Mozambique. The Mozambican people, they just want to be free. They don't need to be, having to run from town to town and having to worry about heads being hacked off. Like I think they said, reports had heads on the beach where some of the Islamic insurgents found people and was cutting their heads off. Religion, I'm telling you, I'm really sick of it. And so we can't just beat up on Christianity, and even though we know it's killed a whole lot of people, but we also got to look at Islam, because it's also part of the mother of harlot. It's a part of that religion too. It is. We need to definitely pray against it, because especially on the continent, it seems like more and more of our people are becoming part of that, and we gotta look at it too. We gotta start calling it out. We gotta start speaking against it also, because it's a religion too. And it was a trans Arab slave trade that started and lasted much longer than the transatlantic. We can't forget that. So I'm praying against that. Praying against the Kaaba stone, and praying against all these other spirits of genocide that it releases upon our people. And they create both sides, where the Christians and the Muslims fight against each other, and then they come in with a solution, which is European troops, and take over the land. So if you see this video, I want you to leave a comment. I want you to give it a thumbs up. I want you to subscribe to the channel and be blessed.